Hello, welcome back to suaICT. We have an interesting question to look at, and it's about Excel. So I know that most of us here will be able to benefit from that. So it's a question from a friend of ours. As usual, it's an assignment, so we just try our best to do the best that we can with regards to the little knowledge that we have about this particular question. That is an Excel spreadsheet question. So let's start. So we have this table from this side to this particular side. So we're going to look at the data here, and where we have used this highlighter is where we are going to be tasked or be required to provide answers to that particular section. So we have a statement here. It says that we should copy the worksheet and of some student record for the semester exams at St. Thomas Senior High School, and we should use this requirement there to provide some needed records or scores for them. So the requirement first one says that write the formula to calculate the total score of EVA in cell J4. So when we go to the sheet, J is this side and 4 is this side. So this is what they are requesting. You can see J4 here. So the question says that we should write the formula. It didn't say we should come up with a function. We should write the formula, okay, to calculate the total score of EVA. So to find the total score of EVA, which is for cell J4, you are supposed to find, or we should come up with a formula that is going to help us calculate the total score for EVA, that is cell J4. So they are requiring us to come out with a formula. You should note that a formula is different from a function. Okay, a function is a predefined formula in the spreadsheet application, meaning that the application that you are using, which is a spreadsheet, specifically Microsoft Excel or probably Google Sheets or any other spreadsheet application that you might use, it has some inbuilt formulas there, and those inbuilt formulas we call them functions. Now, for you to come out with a formula, it depends on the nature of the question and the nature of the data that you are served with. So, with the instruction given, which is forcing us to come up with a formula, we are not supposed to write a function, but to come up with a formula that will give us the score or the total score for only one EVA. Now, when we look at the worksheet, when we pick this side, EVA, for EVA she did maths, ICT, HIV, and English. So we are supposed to put these values together and put the answer here. But in Excel, we don't deal with the data inside the cell. We deal with the cell itself. And once you are dealing with the cells and an operational sign involved, automatically Excel will go to those cells that you have picked them, and it will pick the values or the data inside them to do the computation or the calculation for you. So in this situation, if you have to come up with a formula, it means that then for EVA, so far as the data is self-explanatory, it means that you are supposed to add 77 and 88 and 55 and 70 to get us the total score. But in this case, we are not going to write these things unless probably section B, okay, the subjective, and we are solving it, so we are supposed to show work it. So if we are to come up with a formula in this situation, then we will say that for EVA's we want it to be J4, we will write the first cell that Eva's score is under mathematics, which is this one, C4. And you can see C4 in the name box here. So we have a C4 plus the next one is D4 plus the next one is E4 and F4. Please mind you, always make sure that the equal to sign is available. It is very important, because when you go back to the worksheet and put in the formula there, we have to make sure that we put in the equal to sign. If you don't do that, then we are trying to enter a different type of data, but we're not trying to enter a formula. So we should be very mindful about that. So when you go to show working, when you go to cell C4, you see 77. You go to D4, you see 88. E4, you see 55, and F4, you see 70. So let me pull out my calculator. So let's do the addition. 77 plus 88 plus 55 plus 70, and we are going to get 290 as our answer for Eva's total score. Let's try and see whether what you have done here makes sense. So we go to our Excel, then we pick the cell J4, because the question says here that we are supposed to provide a formula in cell J4. So when we go to this cell, the first thing that you have to do is to put in our equal to sign there. Then we pick the first cell, which is C4, like the way our formula is. Going our operational sign, which is plus. We pick the second one, D4 plus. Pick our next one, E4 plus, and we pick our last one, that is F4. Then hit enter on our computer, and we get our 290. Very, 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 very simple. So the answer to the first question is this one. The formula is this one. So this is it. This is the answer to first question, which is number 1. Okay. So let's go to number 2. Number 2 says that write the formula to compute the total average score of the student in cell H10. H10. This is H, and this is 10. So the total average score of total average score of all the students. And before you can find the average of all the averages, the average of the students in a particular class, rating it with performance, you have to first know the score of the student for that particular subject they are talking about. For example, if you pick mathematics, for you to get the average performance of the student in that particular class, you have to know their score in the math, all the students, what they had, the score that they had in mathematics. So in the case where you're comparing the class in A to a class in B, it means that you have to add the total score of mathematics for all the students, each of the students, add it together and divide it by the number of students in the class. Then you do the same approach for the other class, that is the B. Then what you are going to get, that single value that you're going to get, you can compare. And that way of finding that particular one figure representing the class performance is what we call the average. So you add all the scores of all the students who took part in that particular exam. Then you divide it by the total number of students in that class who took part in that particular exam. You can add, let's say, in a class of 10 students, then maybe 7 came to write the exam. They add all the 7 and divide it by the 10. No, it doesn't work that way. Those who took part are those that you considered and you added their value, their scores. So when you are doing the division to find the average, you pick those that you pick their scores. You divide by those number of students that you pick their scores to do the division to get the average. So that is the idea that we're going to get here. So for us to be able to get the average for the total score, what we need to do is that first we have to find the totals of all the students here. We need to find the total of all the students here. Then we move on from there to the next level. So let's quickly find the totals of all the students in that particular to find the average for the total. So let's look at the total score for each student. So when we pick John, first we put in our equals. So we do the same for all of them like we did for Eva. So we pick this one plus, we pick this plus, we pick that plus, we pick this one, we pick what? Then what do you pick the first? You pick the first cell. You come here, you do the normal center, change it to this plus sign. You click and hold it. Then you drag to this part. Then you release it. Then you get a score for each of them. So when you pick the first, look at the formula bar. You see that we have the formula there intact. Nothing has happened. When you pick that of Yves, you see you get the same thing there. When you pick that of Fatih, you get the same thing there. You pick that of Amina, you get the same thing there. So let's move on. Okay, so move on. Now that we've gotten the total score for each of the students, you have to find the average for that particular student. The average performance for all the subjects that that particular student took. You have to find out average for all the students. For that particular student. So when you pick John did how many subjects? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so from here to get the average of John, okay, what we do is that we'll to get the average of John and put it at the average section, which is the H2. When you look at the name box, you have H2. That's where I've selected H2. What we'll do is that we'll pick the H2 here. For us to get the answer for H2, it depends on this particular cell, this column, this particular cell, which is the J2 and the J3 and J4. It means that for us to get this one, we depend on this one to get it. So it means that then when we come here, we write, for us to get our H2, we need Gene 2, and we divide the Gene 2 by the number of subjects that particular student took part. Took part in it, and we have 4. So if it is so, then John had our Gene 2 to be 287, and we are dividing it by 4. Then what are we going to get? Our calculator. So 287 divided by 4, we are going to get 71.75. So here we are going to get 71.75. So let's look at what we can do here. So equal to, they will pick this one because we are in it already. We are in H2 already, so there's no need for us to type in H2. We just continue with it, or we start with the equal to. So you pick J2, then you bring your division sign, then you bring your 4. Press enter, and that is what we are going to get for that of John. It's the same thing. We'll hold the J. We'll come here and hold this particular side, which is the autofill. Then we drag to this side to get the total, the averages of each of the students with the subject that they took part in the exam. So if John took part in 4 subjects, the average performance of the 4 subjects is what we have for him, which is 71.75. And that of Joseph is 78.25. That of Amina is that. Now the question says that we should find the total average scores of all the students. When we go, the question says what? Write the formula to compute the total average scores of the students, and we should put it in cell H10. So it means we are going to put it here. So now, this side, which is H10, how do you find the total average? So we should compute, we should write the formula to compute. So we are going to write the formula. And to write the formula, we start from what? The first one, which is H2. So H2 plus H3 plus H4 plus H5 plus H6 plus H7. This is our H7. In case this is our H7. So we are going to write H8 and H9. So plus H8 plus H9. So good. So we are going to add from H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, H7, H8, and H9 to get our total average. We are adding. Of course, we could have used a function, but the question says you use a formula. So my personal understanding is what I'm taking you through. It doesn't stand to be, okay, later I'll give my disclaimer about the whole thing, but my personal understanding is what I'm taking you guys through. Yes. So when you pick the first one, it says 71.75 plus 58.5 plus 72.5 plus 78.25, this side, which is for just say that is H5, that is H5 here. So we're going to H6 is 57 plus H7 is 69.5 plus H8 is 74.25 plus H9 is 77.5. Let's pull our calculator and do the addition here. So 71.75 plus 58.5 plus 75.5 plus 72.5 plus 78.25 plus 57 plus, so when we look at the first one, this is H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. So H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. We are going to add H7, H8, and H9. So plus 59.5 plus 74.25 plus 77.5. So it's going to give us 579.254 H10. This is what we are going to get for H10. But again, the question is asking for the formula. So this is the formula that we can use to get our total averages for all the students. So let's go to the system and see how we can compute that there. So we are looking at H10. So we are selecting the cell H10, and that is what we have here in the main board. You can see that. The first and most important thing for us to do is to bring an equal to sign. So put an equal to sign there. So pick the first, the h2 plus h3 plus h4 plus h5 plus h6 plus h7 plus h8 plus h9. So h2, h3, h4, h5, h6, h7, h8, and h9 is what we have inside here in our formula. So hit our enter, and that is what we have there, 579.25. Good. So move on to the second question. So this is question number 2. Move to question number 3. Question number 3. Let me write the question number 3 here. Question number 3 here. Let me change. So question number 3 here. And the question says, provide a formula to calculate 45% of Ali score in cell I7. Sorry, cell I7. So we need 45% score of Ali. 45% of Ali score. So this side is the 45% of Ali score. That is the I7. So to get Ali 45 percent score, what we do is that it is at I7, right? So the formula to compute is that first we'll pick 45 and percent means over 100 times Ali score. Ali score is in which cell? Ali score is in cell H7. So H7, and mostly in Excel, multiplication is the asterisk, so something like this, then the H7. So you can either write something like this, or you can see I7 is you find you convert the percentage into decimal, which is 0.45. Then you do something like this of H7. So or let's see what the at least 45% of the score is going to give us. Let's use the calculator. So from there we can say, okay, so 45 divided by 100 is going to give us what? Something like this, times that of Ali score. Ali score is that I'm sorry, it is this time rather J7. Sorry guys. So Ali score is at J7. So let me claim this one. Okay, let's get back. Okay. So here is J, and this one is J. Good. So Ali score, take it from this. So the percentage is not calculated on the average, but it's calculated on the total score, which is this one, this particular figure, the 7, the 2, 7, 8, and that is the J7 in our name box. So we have 0.45 if you have to show working times 278. So this one times 278, and that will give us 125.10. That is the Ali score. So when we come here, first we put in our equal to, then we type in 0.45. Then what do we do? There is the of Ali's score. If you put Ali's score, that is J7, and hit enter, and you are going to get it. Please, you can't write something like this. 0. I don't know whether times you put the normal times there. This one they put Ali's. I mean, let's see whether that one will pick. I'm using the times times that we normally write in mathematics, they put J at least. He says we found a typo in your formula and tried to correct it to this. So proceed, yes. But again, we are not through with this. We want to do something. Let's go again. And then we put maybe J. Maybe you should put it in uppercase. J. We are getting issues with it because of this particular one, the X there. So in Excel, we use the asterisk as our multiplication cell, so the automatically has picked the cell. So in Excel, we don't deal with the data type, we deal with the cell. And when you are referring a formula using a cell, when Excel is doing the computation, it goes to that cell and picks the data there. In here, the data that you are dealing with are all values or numbers. You're not dealing with labels or variables or dates or time or anything. You're dealing with values here. So when it goes to that particular cell, for example, in this case, which is change 7, it goes to take the data there and it works with it. So when it hits enter on our keyboard, this is what we are going to get. And that is the same thing that we have here. We have here in our work. Okay. So that is question number 3. Let's move on. I hope I'm making sense. If there's anything you don't understand, you can raise up your hand and ask questions. Don't mind me, I'm joking. I know you can raise up your hand and ask me a question. Okay, write a formula to find the grade of John in cell J2. Write a formula to find the grade of John in cell J2. Oh, sorry. Now this side is a very big thing that we are going to look at, because I don't know how the question is, but it's an interesting question. Before you can find the grade of a particular student, let me see the grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. We have to come out with the grading system. So it means that we have to write the grading system here, and I need you guys to pay attention. Okay, it's been a long time since I came out with grading system. In fact, when I am assessing my students, I use these things to play around with them, so that at the end of the day, when I enter their class score and their exam score, automatically everything is completed for me. So I would like us to pay attention here critically, and we look at how best we can go about with it. So let's see. Let's look at our grading system. Gradient system. Now, I know that from 80 to 100, we give the learner or the child, let's say 1, yes. From 75 to 79, give the child 2. From 70 to 74, give the child 3. From 65 to 69, give the child 4. From 60 to 54, give the child 5. From 55 to 59, the child will take 6. From 50 to 54, the child will get 7. From 45 to 49, the child takes 8. And from 44 to down, in this case maybe 0, the child takes what? Grade 9. So let's look at it. So we can pick one of the boundaries. You can pick this side, you can pick this boundary to do our grading system, or we can pick this boundary to do our grading system. So let's pick the first one. I don't know whether this side is called the lower boundary or this side is called the upper boundary. You know, whether this side is the lower boundary or this side is the upper boundary. So let's go a bit down. So now looking at this data, it tells us that if the child is able to get 80 and above, 80 and above, which is edging closer to 100, give the child 1. If the child is able to fall within the range 75 to 79 or 75 and 79, you give the child 2. When the child gets 80 per, it moves to the next level of 80 to 100 range, and we give the child 1. So it's a condition that we don't know what the child is going to get. I mean, nobody can easily predict that this student is going to get 80 or whatever, and 50 or whatever. But we've put these figures that we are assuming that the child can get into ranges. But if the child is able to fall within this range, then let's say that, okay, then this child is going to get this particular grade value, that particular grade value, like that. So yeah, when you look at the ranges, that is how we can put it in terms of the explanation. So when you pick, for instance, let's say 70, when you pick 70 and 74, it means that when the child falls within the range of 70, 71, 72, 73, up to 74, those group of children who fall within this range, you give them 3. Likewise, 65 to 69, you give them. But now, how do we convert this and put it in an Excel where we can easily determine the grading system? Or sorry, we can easily determine the grade of the student without we going through a lot. So let's start from here. So we can say that, okay, if you have to pick this particular scenario, they are saying that if the child gets 70, okay, if John, okay, gets 70, or okay, let me put it in a different let's say if John, this is John, we are considering John. So we are considering John. So we're saying if John gets a value here that we cannot tell, if the value of what John had is equal to or greater, see the greater than sign, 70, what we do is that we are supposed to give John what? Grade 3. You can see that if again in case John gets a value which is equal to or greater than equal to 74, let's say equal to 74, so John will pick 3. But if we are to look at this one, in the case where it is greater than 74, it means that we are jumping to 75. That means that we are forced to give John what? Grade what? 2. So this is the key word here. We are going to use this condition to determine the grading for what? John. To determine what John is going to get. And that same idea is what we are going to use for all. So let me write the grading system for you. Okay, so let's start with our grading system. So we are picking this angle, this boundary. We are using this boundary. We are using the 80 trickle down to 44. That is what we are using. So let's start. So equal to, if the average score of what John had, which when we look at our Excel, it is this one, our J, our H, our H2. If we look at it, we're going to put it here, in our J2, because we want to find it there. So we are going to consider this particular column or these cells, or for the question says John, we're going to look at this cell to determine the kind of grade I want to give, and it falls within 70 to 74. You know that the person is going to get 3. Okay, but let's look at how the grading system can be done so that we can do the automation and It will be very simple for us. So we are assuming that if H2 is where the data is greater than, okay, or equal to, if H2 is greater than or equal to 80, we put it in quotes, comma, then we put it in double quotes. We are going to put grade 1 there, double quotes. They'll bring a comma again. Let's pick a different one. If sorry, our H2 is again greater or equal to, the next one is bring a single comma, single quote, sorry. Then we put 75 in there, bring a single quote, then put comma, they'll put double quote, put 2 double quote, they'll bring our comma. That means that if the charge value that is going to get in H2 here is within the range, or it is greater than or equal to 75, it means they are giving the person what, 2. If it is greater than 75, then it means that obviously it's going to push it towards 80. And the 80, if the value is equal to 80, you give it 1. If it is more than 80, still 1. But if it is less than 80, you pick the 75. Okay? If it is less than 80, you pick the 75. Good. Now, we move to the next one. If our H2 is greater than greater than or equal to 70, that is one single quote, so we'll give it a double quote for 3. Then put comma. When you look at this one, H2, H2 here can be 70, 71, 72, 73. So from all these values, if it is 1 greater than the 70, it goes to 71, 72, 73, and even 74. Looking at what we have here, 74. It means that from 70, which is greater than 70, or equal to 70, all within that particular 70, 71, 72, 73 will fall for the grade 3, because 70 up to 74 here per our grading system is supposed to be giving us 3. So if it is greater than 70, then possibly it could be 71, could be 72, 73, 74. But if it is 75, it means that this one will take over if it is 75. And if it is greater than 75, we are going to 76, 77, 78, 79, which is within this range. If it is greater than that, then it means that 80 will take over. So that is how the system is going to function. We put our if there condition again. If our H2 is greater than or equal to 65, put it in single quote, 65. We close it, they bring our comma, put our double quote there, they will put 4 double quote there. Then you pick another one. If, let me come down here. If our H2 is greater than or equal to, we put it in single quote, 60, then we bring comma here. They'll come, put single quote, sorry, this is a single quote, and this is double quote. So put, for 60, we are picking what, 5, grade 5, double quote, put a comma there. Then put this one. If our H2 is greater than or equal to, they'll bring a single quote, 55, single quote, bring a comma, double quote, then 55 to 59, you are putting 6, double quote, bring a comma there. Pick another one. If our H2 is greater than or equal to, single quote, I'll put our 50, single quote, comma, When you double quote, they are giving the learner or the student 7. You bring a comma there. They will pick this one. If our H2 is greater than or equal to, they put a single quote there, which is for the score 45. We close it with a single quote, put a comma there, open the double quote, then we put which grade 8 there, bring a second comma. They will pick this one, this color. If here H2 is less than 45, single quote, comma, put a double quote, put 9 there. They will close the bracket. They will pick this color, close the bracket. They will pick this color, close the bracket. They pick this color. I'm using that color because on the system that is how it will do the closing of the bracket if you have to close the bracket. Pick this color, then I'll pick the right color. Pick this color, then red, then green. So the system will pick the colors like that to close it. Now, when you look at this logic here, if our H2 is less than 45, so if it is less than 45, it means that 44 going down, okay, you are supposed to pick what? The 9 here and use it. So that is the logic there. But you can also write if H2 is less than or equal to, they'll bring a single quote there, you put 44. You put a single quote, close it and bring double quote, 9, double quote. This one too is also what? Correct. Likewise, this one too is also what? Is also what? Correct. So now we are going to key in this there, and automatically that is how it's going to be. It's going to pick for us there. So let's look at it. So first put an equal sign there, and then if we open bracket, if our H2 is greater than or equal to, then we have a single quote 80, single quote, comma, double quote, then we need what? 1, double quote, then we have comma there. Then if again, open bracket, H2 is greater than or equal to, then I think I can even do it without. Let me type them here. We bring a single quote 75, close it a single quote, then bring a comma and double quote. We are going for 2, then double quote, comma, then start again. If H2 is greater than equal to single quote 70, just 70, good. We bring a comma, bring a double quote, we go for 3, double quote, they bring a comma. And if again, because you are testing all the possible ranges that the child might fall in. So far, come up with the first grade, the second, going for the third range of grades that you can give it to the child. So if H2 is greater than or equal to, then you put 55, close it. After closing it, then what we do next is bring our comma there, double quote, they will put 4 there, close it, then bring our comma, then go for if again H2 is greater than or equal to, then our quote, put 60 there. Our quote, bring our comma, that is single quote. Obviously, double quote, we put 5, double quote, we put comma there. They go for another one again. If, open bracket, H2 is greater than or equal to 55. So single quote 55, comma, double quote, then you give the child 6. The child falls within the range of 55 to 55 and greater, that is 55 to 59. Give the child 6, grade 6. Then go for another condition again. If H2 is greater than or equal to single quote 50, single quote, comma, double quote, then we give the child 7. Close the grading quote there and put a comma there and go again. If H2 is greater than or equal to 45, right? Yes, 45. Single quote, comma, double quote. You put what there? You put 8. Good. Double quote, comma. Go again. The final one. If H2, open our bracket, H2 is less than 45. If it's less than 45, you are not adding equal to where we are making the 45 inclusive. So if it's less, that means the 45 is exclusive. So then the consideration starts from 45 downward. So we start from 44 downward. Then we are saying that we are giving the child a value of 9 to show the child's performance. After you close the bracket, notice when you close the bracket, the colors that it will pick. So first you pick the first color, and the last color that we used to open. Then you go and pick the last by one color. So like that. So you count up to 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then enter. You have an issue. So let's try and solve that issue there. Let's try and debug the issue there. Okay, so the problem, there's a problem with this formula. There's a problem with this formula. Not trying to type a formula or because to get around this, type an apostrophe this first. So you type an apostrophe here, so bring a focus sign. The cell will show something like, okay, let's see. So let's clear this apostrophe from there. Let's see, let's clear this apostrophe from there. Clear this apostrophe. Enter. Okay, the first apostrophe is gone. Let's clear the other one. See? Clear this one. So let's clear all the apostrophes around this. Okay. Okay, what's what happened? Good. So we got our grade for John there. That is so nice. Okay, sorry. So in case you didn't hear me, we're trying to rectify, but I hope you saw what happened on the screen. We're trying to rectify the problem that we're facing in terms of coming out with the grading system. So we realized that the formula that we created, we had this this comma inside. We had this comma. Sorry, the apostrophe. Sorry, apostrophe, single apostrophes around the score of that of the child. So upon further exploration, we realized that okay, then there will be a need for us to remove all the commas and try it and see. So we're actually doing some trying and error here. So after removing all the comments, when we tried, it picked for us, and that's what we have here. And that is what we have. So when you take a critical look and you can see that all the scores that the chart is possibly might possibly get, we removed all the comments from there, and that's what we have. So if you select it and it comes to this small section here, the mouse pointer, you know, to change that power sign like autofill, click and hold and you passively drag down there, you could tell the grading system on the grading level. And when you typically look at this one, Fatih had 2, and you can tell that the 2 falls within which range? It falls in the range of what? 75 to 79, and you can see there. And here Fatih had 77.5. So obviously Fatih is in that range of getting what it is 2. Likewise, Joseph too is in that particular range. And when you take a critical look at grading system is correct. So I think I might have to write the grading system again for you, but again, I don't know. The only thing that I can say is that this grading system, okay, this grading system is correct. The only correction is to remove the apostrophe, okay, the single apostrophe, these ones. Let's say if you put 80 here as a mark, remove these ones. Okay, what you have to do is to remove them. So let's say this one, this apostrophe, single apostrophe, remove them. So when you look at the the formula that we have there, the grading system, okay, so remove the apostrophe from all the stuff, and that's good. And you are good to go. So this structure is correct. Just they have to be removing all of these ones. You have to be cleaning all of them. So you clean all of this one. I've cleaned some of them for you. So you can look at that. You can probably do same the other. Okay. And you have to clean them for you. But let me leave it at least so that you know that I cleaned some. Because I'm recording, at least I cleaned some and I left some. That is going to guide you. So this is our grading system, and that is what we have used to get that of the score for get our grade for our John. So the question says what? Provide a formula to calculate. Sorry, number 4 says what? Write a formula to find the grade of John in cell J2. The grade of John in cell A2. So that is question number 4. Question number 4. So this is question number 4. Question number 4. Question number 4. Okay. Question 4 is this one. Okay. Now let's go to question 5. Question 5. We're talking about position. In position, we are referring to rank. And when you talk of rank, what comes to mind is what we call absolute cell reference. So you can Google to read more about that, where the key thing that we use the $sign to do the magic. Yeah. Okay. So when you look at this one, we are going to calculate the position for Joseph, which is cell K5, I'm sure. The question says, yes, K5. Joseph's position K5. Joseph's position in K5. Joseph's position in K5. So because my microphone is not that reliable, I might be going off and on because my battery is going down. So let me be quick with my explanation. So the question is asking for write a formula to find Joseph's position in class. So the first thing that you have to look at is where are we putting it? So you are putting it in this K5. Right, K5 is equal to big K or not small k. And the k and the 5 should be of the same size. Shouldn't be smaller. One shouldn't be smaller than the other, especially the 5. It shouldn't be K5 like this. This is wrong. But this one is correct. So let's always try as much as possible to stick to that. Okay. So let me even clean it. I'll clean it. Okay. So I think yes. So our K5, what we do is that first we hit the keyword rank equal to rank. We bring our equal to, very important, then rank. Then when we pick the rank, we pick the first cell here. The first cell here is K2. K2. They will put comma there again. They will pick K. They will put the dollar sign. Put 2. Put the dollar sign there. They bring the colon. They'll go and pick the last person, because for you to get the position of a particular student, you need to know the number of students in the class in relation to that of their performance. Okay, in relation to that of their performance. So even in relation to that of their performance, when you look at my formula that I'm trying to put out, it is wrong. It is wrong because in relation to that of their formula, when you go to K2, there's nothing in cell K2, and you can't lock K2 and use it to lock the last one. So our rank here is wrong, and it should depend on the average. We are going to use the average to do it. So let's come down here. K5 is equal to rank. The open, and our rank here, we are using the average like I said earlier. So we are going to use H. So H2, because that is where the values are, comma, then H, we lock it and lock the 2. So they bring our colon there, and the last of it is this one, H9. They will bring H here, we lock it, we put our 9 here, then we lock it. And that is that for our position. We have been able to resolve our position. So let's put it there and see. So equal to, put rank there, open the bracket, I'll pick H2, they'll put let me open it, H2, then they'll put comma, they'll put H and the dollar sign, they'll put 2 there, put the dollar sign there, they'll bring a colon, they'll put H there again, bring the dollar sign, and bring a 9, bring the dollar sign to lock it. We are using that particular range. I hope what I've done is correct. Let me see. Okay, it's picked. So this is what we have here. When you select it, see, we are using the H. When you look at it, it has picked from H2 here to H9. Means that we are going to look at it, is the rank is going to arrange them and rank them according to the one who had the highest mark. So we are going to start from H2 as our benchmark to use it to do the arrangement, because we're going to start from the H2. Then again, it will pick the range. If you are starting from H2, then where are you starting from? Where are you going to end if you start from H2? So you're going to end on H9. So it will pick that and use it to do the arrangement, do some, like, I don't know how to put it, but when it comes to programming, we have some bubble sorting and we have different forms of sorting. So it's going to do a kind of sort where first it will pick the first H2 and compare it to compare to the first one to see whether it is bigger than it is bigger than it's the one that it is using to compare. If it is bigger, then it does a repositioning. Then it will be comparing it to it rearranges it from ascending order to descending order. Then from there, it will now say that okay, if the 71 is arranged and it is first on the fifth order, then it say that is the fifth position. So that is how it's going to do the arrangement for that. And when you again select it and you drag it to the last person, you get to know that of what Joseph's Joseph's position, and Joseph got the first, and the formula to get the Joseph's own is this one. So this Joseph's own is this one. Joseph's own is Joseph's own, which is K5. Final answer. Joseph's own rank is H5, comma, then H log 2, then H log, and that is 9. So it means that the system is telling us that we can take off this one, we can take off this one and take off this one, and we will still get our answers like the way you can see inside the Excel sheet. So this is that of the K5. I mean, if you select Joseph, if you select Joseph, if you select Joseph, yeah, Joseph, this is what we are getting for Joseph's what um, formula. And if you go to, so that is Joseph's own. If you go to the grade for John, the grade for John too, when you come and select John, the grading for John, you are going to write all of this for John. Going to write all of that for John, and possibly you can do the explanation as I've done. Now you are moving on to the sixth one. What functions? So now we are dealing with functions, and we said earlier on that it is a predefined what formulas, or it's a predefined formula. Function is a predefined formula that is probably coded into the program for you able to even install and probably try to use it. Okay, let's move on. So what function is used to find the average score of math in the class? So average score of math, all the students, you want to find their average score of math, what function is used to do that? Okay, so let's see how we can find the average score of mathematics. So move on to question number question number 6. Question number 6. Average score for math, and we'll put it in cell C11, I'm sure. That's what it said. So C11. Let me see. Let me see, the question says C11, right? Yeah. So the function is first the function name. First you write the function name. So C11, the function name is average. They pick the first cell, which is this one. I'm going to pick this cell, which is C2. We are picking this cell C2. That is C2, but I don't know what the math. C2 is 2, then the last cell, C what? That is 14. That is 14. 14 is C what? 9. C9. And that will give us our average. So that is that. So when we go there, we put it here, equal to average. I'll pick C2 colon C9, close our bracket, enter, and that is what we have for the average, and that is the formula here, sorry, the function here. So please take note. So we are going to question number 7. Question number 7, it says what? Question number 7 says what? Question number 7 says, what function is used to find the minimum score of ICT in a class? So minimum score. I want to find the minimum value amongst all the values that you are checking. So then where are we going to put it? For ICT, we are going to put it here. Yeah, that is cell D12. So D12 equals min. Then you pick that again. The first, so which is under D2 colon D9. Because the data there ends on what? 9. So let's put it there and see. Equals min. Put in the first bracket D2, then D9, close the bracket, hit enter. So obviously you can tell from the look of it that the minimum score there is 55. That is from Ali, and that is what we have there, and that is the function for that. We look at number 8. Number 8 says what? What's the function used to find the average score of HIV in the class in cell E13? Average score. So average score is a number 8 says what function is used to find the average score of HIV in the class cell E13? So we go to E13 here. So average score, number 8 says what is the number 8 says what function is used to find the average score of HIV in cell E13. So average score of HIV. So we are going to do it like the way we did at question 6. So the question 6 here, we deploy the same formula here. So E13 average. They pick the first one, which is E2 is to E9. Then we are done. So let's put it there. Equals then average, open the bracket, E2 colon E9. So thank you very much. Thank you so much. So that is that for all the questions that we have there. I said I wanted us to look at one, which is one thing, which was the question number 3. It says provide a formula to calculate 45% of Ali's scores in cell I7. So here, the reason why I'm probably thinking of maybe the calculation should have been done on H and not on J is because when we were to do the grading, we couldn't do the grading on the total because we need to use the averages. The grading is always up to 100. So if a figure like this here is even more than 100, It means that we can't do our grading system will be somehow difficult. But again, I was also trying to say something like, if you have to check each of the subjects, it's supposed to be marked out of 100. So then, if it is 4, we are expecting the student is expected to get 400. But the actual score of the student, when we added the 4 subjects, was 287. So when you convert this into 100%, 287 over 400 times 100% is going to give us a 71.75. So in a way, it could be that the 45% of Ali, I don't know how it's going to be, but I think what we did was that we picked this 4, uh, we picked 45% of this one, 45% of this. But if it is 45% of this, you are getting a huge figure here. But again, you can probably discuss it with your friends and see. But I feel like probably it's supposed to be the 45% on the average year. The 45% on the average year. So if it is so, it means that this figure will go a bit down. Okay, 45, because when you look at the grading and the position, we depended on the age. We never depended on this one, on the total. So it means that if you are depending on the age to get the grading and the position, the 45% should possibly be on the average. But when you look at the formula, I used the J7. So please discuss that with your colleagues and see the best way out and try and use the, and maybe based on the discussion you can conclude to either maintain the J7 or turn your minds to probably the H7. So thank you very much for watching, and share and like, and probably you can subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye bye.